Blog Talk Radio.
College football fans near and far, welcome to another edition. I'm one of your hosts. I'm Dev McClellan, but I'm here with our show. We got some college Brad Purdue.
Man, I'm good, but here's the crazy thing. We got to throw the flag on you real early. 15 yards on the play, unnecessary roughing, hands to the face. What else? Clipping, roughing the passer, whatever we want to call it. 15 yards on the play.
All right, we're gonna take our steps back and get the drive started from there then. But what's up with you, man? Week 1 of 2018 college football season is in the books.
Man, I'm like a kid in a candy store. I've been watching so much football. I don't know what to do with myself. I've been to a few high school games. I've made sure my heart was broken last week, but it's early, very early, very early.
All right, so we're gonna jump right into things then and get into the action from last week. We're gonna take a couple of quick slants. We're gonna take some routes real quick. And the first thing I want you to talk about is this whole issue with Michigan. You know, they went out there, got embarrassed, but Braylon Edwards had a lot to say about the situation. As a matter of fact, he even got suspended from his job for his critical comments of the Michigan football program. What's up with the Wolverines?
Well, Jim Harbaugh, quite honestly, he's on the hot seat. I mean, I'm not opposed to the things he had to say, quite honestly. Michigan's been kind of overrated since Harbaugh's gotten there. I think the idea of a Michigan man being there sounds great, but in reality, he hasn't really done much. He hasn't beaten Ohio State. He hasn't. He's lost close games. I mean, who can forget the blocked punt against Michigan State? Who can? I mean, you lose to Ohio State after injuries. I mean, he really hasn't done anything. If you really think back over time, Michigan has always been an underachieving team for such a big name school. I mean, it's not looking good. So I'm on Braylon Edwards' side actually on this one.
No, I mean, because I agree with the things he said as well. I mean, I guess when you work for the Big Ten Network, you could probably say them in a more professional manner. But he has some skin in the game, you know what I'm saying? That's his alma mater. So I'm pretty sure he's in his feelings about where the program is right now. Mm-hmm. And he's always been critical. And plus, you know, if you really want to slice it, he did not say he didn't make these comments on the Big Ten Network. This was, of course, on his social media page. So if you want to, you know, keep it professional on the air, and then you want to go to your social media to call people trash, you should be able to do that. But you know, we live in a sensitive world right now, so who knows?
Definitely,
who knows?
It's amazing to me how one Braylon Edwards has a lot to say about that Michigan team, but then when Tim Tebow says things about I'm not trying to embrace it or anything, but you know, it's funny how Tebow says something and he tees off on this team, saying all kinds of things.
Right.
What happened to him at the good old four letters?
All right, well, so, you know, our quick slants this week has a theme, and the theme is struggle. Week 1 struggles. Now, you know, your boys down at the they had some struggles this past weekend as well, and they're struggling at the quarterback position. What are your impressions of what you saw?
Man, it wasn't good. I mean, everything from top to bottom. The defense looked good for about a half, but, you know, when you have Malik Rozier at quarterback, and I wasn't a big fan of him last year, but now it's just apparent. I always used to say Ja'Cory Harris was one of the worst quarterbacks I've ever seen, but Malik Rozier tops that. Malik Rozier throws interceptions that he's looking at a guy, and he just throws it to him. Like, at least Ja'Cory Harris would throw the ball up to a 6'5" receiver, hoping that he would come down with it, even though they were blind throws. But Malik he's staring dude in the face, and he's just throwing bad interceptions. I mean, the offense doesn't have its creativity. it's either the long ball for explosive plays or inside zone, outside zone. There's no intermediate passing game. Your best running back isn't on the field. I don't get a lot of what's going on right now with this offense. And Mark Richt has drummed up a lot of excitement. I mean, you start out 9-3, you improve to 10-3. I'm sorry, 9-4, 10-3. You get new indoor facilities. You got guys coming in, signing on to this program, committing, and now you're struggling. I mean, I worried about this LSU game, but I didn't think it was going to be this bad. And by the way, an Ohio State backup quarterback started and ripped them apart.
Well, you know how that goes. Yeah, it's unfortunate. I mean, but even though this is difficult to say in college football, because I was about to say, well, it's one game, but in college football, it's kind of difficult to say it's just one game because they weigh so much. Each game weighs so much, but they were and still are going in the right direction as a program. So we'll see how they bounce off the mat. After the struggles of week one. Now, sticking to our theme of struggles, there was some more struggling going on in the state of Florida. Willie Taggart struggled in his debut with the Seminoles as well. Thoughts on that one?
I loved every single second of it. As a Miami Hurricane, how could you not? I mean, so much excitement for Willie Taggart and his offense. For me, when I saw in this game, I didn't get to see the whole game from start to finish, but I saw the end of the second quarter on. And what I saw was a Virginia Tech team that was well coached. Bud Foster is one of the best defensive coordinators, and he's always prepared. Offensively, Virginia Tech was just rolling, and defensively, they were always in place. Second half, Florida State crossed the midfield line twice. They had a big run by Cam Akers, who was quiet all night long, 84-yard run. One thing I always said all offseason, he needs to finish runs. Guess what? He didn't finish the run that could have made it a touchdown game, and it got ugly from there. For me, a 2-touchdown game. For me, what I saw from this offense, they're trying to bring back old days of Peter Warwick and Charlie Ward when they were running that run and gun, fun and gun offense. And that's great, but we always say it doesn't matter what level of football you play. Fat boys up front determine everything, and their offensive line was putrid. You should be on scholarship. I should be on scholarship. I can find 3 other guys, and they can join us, and we can go back to school for free. I'm just saying.
Just go block somebody, get a whole education. All right, well, the struggle didn't end there with Florida State because there was some sad news in Hollywood, in the world of college football, Seminole Nation, and just the world in general. Burt Reynolds, actor, former Florida State Seminoles football player, died this week at the age of 82. Got any words, any thoughts about Burt Reynolds?
Great actor, great football player, producer. Director. It's Gunsmoke, man.
He lived a full life. That's one thing you can say.
Yeah. When you lose a guy like that, it's just you lose one of the greats. And when you lose one of the greats, it's like you want more. You just want more, but you can't have more. Forget all the rivalries, all the football stuff. We lost a good one.
And shout out to his football movies, The Longest Yards. The Longest Yard, but both versions of The Longest Yard. So rest in peace to Burt Reynolds, no doubt. Definitely a great loss. Like I said, in Hollywood, college football, Noel Nation, and the world in general. All right, so let's go to some pick'ems for the week, man. We're going. I haven't checked in to see what the scores was after 1 week, but, I'm not even going to do that because I don't want to get anybody out there excited if they might be in the lead after 1 week. But we're going to get your thoughts on some of these games here, and we're going to start with number 18, the Mississippi State Bulldogs versus those Kansas State Wildcats. Thoughts on that one? That's the early game on Saturday.
Kansas State really struggled with South Dakota last week, and it really showed. Now they're playing a real team with a real quarterback and a real defense. Shout out to Montez Sweat and Jeffrey Simmons. They're gonna. I really have a good feeling about this Mississippi State team. Anybody want Wildcat for dinner?
Wow. All right.
I'm not giving the winners yet. I'm not giving the winners. I'm just saying.
I know you can't help people along their way. We don't do that. All right, so let's go to some more Wildcats. This Wildcat team is 0-1. We got the Arizona Wildcats facing Houston, going down to see the Cougars. It's a lot of cats and big cats and cougars and all kinds of stuff in this lineup.
This game is going to feature the best defensive lineman in college football, Ed Oliver. He could have probably went to the pros last year and been a top 5 pick. If you really like the days of Gerald McCoy and Ndamukong Suh, watch this game. He's going to abuse offensive lines. On the other side of with that Arizona, you have Khalil Tate, who struggled last week against BYU in a loss. I actually thought Arizona would win that game. Khalil Tate was everything I thought a dual threat quarterback should be. He's everything I think a college quarterback nowadays should be. And don't take that. That's not a slight to say a guy's a college quarterback. That means you're going to be very successful. But I think the Kevin Sumlin era is not going to fit Khalil Tate well because of the type of offense that Kevin Sumlin wants to run, where he wants to recreate the days of Johnny Manziel. And quite honestly, Khalil Tate just isn't that guy. He's more of a runner than a passer, but he's so dynamic that you have to keep the ball in his hands. I'm interested to see that battle between the offensive line and the defense, the Arizona offensive line and the Houston defensive line. I hope Ed Oliver eats early and often.
All right, well, let's move on to Chip Kelly and his 0-1 UCLA Bruins going to face the number 6 team in the country, Oklahoma Sooners.
This game is going to be a blowout. I usually don't say lock of the week. I usually reserve this one for Alabama, where I just, hey, this is your win for the week. This is my easy one. Last week was the 1 week you can lock this Oklahoma team in, because last week against Cincinnati, UCLA had an opportunity to win a game and get some confidence before getting their face kicked in. Now they've lost a close one. They lost a game they probably should have won, and they're still going to get their face kicked in. I really can't wait to see Kyler Murray just throwing it around in Mr. Hollywood. If you've ever seen a dynamic receiver, please go watch Oklahoma. They're gonna go up, and Oklahoma will remind you of what Chip Kelly used to be an Oregon Duck, because they're gonna go up and down the field.
All right, this next matchup, these are the kind that get me excited, especially around the first 2 or 3 weeks of the season when you got 2 ranked teams going at it, even though both of these teams are on the different ends of the top 25 spectrum. We got the number 3 Georgia Bulldogs going to see the number 24 South Carolina Gamecocks.
This game is everything you want in an SEC early season matchup. And now, if we remember from the off season, I actually suspected, and I still do, an upset. Now, will I pick this upset? I'm not. I can't reveal that. You'll have to find out in the rankings. But this one's going to be a very, very good one. Georgia has tons of weapons. Jake Fromm is the unquestioned leader. I think Justin Fields is going to be a guy soon, but he's going to have to wait a little bit. But Jake Bentley on the other side at quarterback for South Carolina is going to sling it around. And you have one of the best receivers in the country in Deebo Samuel. By the way, Will Muschamp seems to be really comfortable at South Carolina, building that team as his old team in Florida. They're not struggling, but they're slowly trying to come back. And by the way, Will Muschamp can't get away from his old teams. Coached at Florida, he has to play them, and played at Georgia, he has to go against them. So he just can't avoid his old teams.
All right, the next one is the battle for the state of Iowa. We got the Cyclones of Iowa State going to visit the Hawkeyes. Thoughts?
This game is always one of those look out, watch out, not so fast kind of games, because you think Iowa's the big name school, but Iowa State has had their number a little bit, and they tend to find ways to win games when it comes to Kirk Ferentz. He comes from the Belichick tree, and you know how I feel about that Belichick tree. We'll see how it turns out. I'm not going to say who I'm leaning to, but the state school looks pretty good.
All right. We got some more big cats in the house. The number 2 Clemson Tigers to see the Texas A&M Aggies. Both teams coming in at 1-0. What's your thoughts on this one? Easy one for Clemson?
Clemson has 4 first-round caliber defensive linemen. Let's just say Texas A&M played a very big cupcake last week, and while they had 240 plus yards on the ground, I don't see Kellen Mond being somebody. I just don't. I see Texas A&M really, really struggling with this defense. And the one guy we haven't talked about in all of this, it's not Kelly Bryant. It's not Trevor Lawrence, the freshman at quarterback. Those 2 guys are going to be really good. Or it's not Amari Rogers, who, by the way, is T. Martin's nephew. None of those guys. Travis Etienne is going to be he is just a flat-out stud at running back. He had a really good freshman campaign, and now this guy is really going to break out in this game. Texas A&M's run defense was kind of scarce last week, and they were playing FCS talent in Northwestern State. So you can't struggle with a team like that early and expect to just let a Clemson team who's on fire over the last couple of years really get ready to come out and play. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to lock this one up too. You get a 2-for-1 special.
2-for-1 special, man. Y'all better listen up. Lock it up. All right, we're going back. Another big cat. We got Kentucky Wildcats going to see the number 25 team in the country, those Florida Gators.
Well, this series, there's a stat for this series. Florida has won 31 straight. Now, to put that in perspective, I'm only 28 years old, so this record goes beyond my existence. I think it's going to keep going from there. These Gators aren't bad. Kentucky, I just thought they have a new starting quarterback. Benny Snell is pretty good at running back. He's a senior. But I just don't see where the points are coming from when you have to score on a hellacious Florida Gators defense. And the offense is being led now by Dan Muller, who's going to be very creative. Not saying I'm picking the Gators or anything, but I think history tells us a lot.
All right. More big cats. We got the battle for Pennsylvania here. We got the number 13 ranked Penn State Nittany Lions, who almost became the latest FCS Big Ten victim of Appalachian State, versus the Pitt Panthers.
This game last week, Penn State literally almost lost to the same team Michigan lost to on the same day 10 years ago. It was epic, and I think they're going to be fuming from that. Trace McSorley is a player. I really want to see how this defense shows up. On the other side of things, for the Pitt Panthers, Kenny Pickett he had a really good start to his career last year, starting out unfortunately against my Miami Hurricanes, finding ways to win games. You could have picked another week to do that, but nonetheless, he has some experience now. I'm glad this rivalry is actually being reborn, because it's one of those things where the two big state schools, they should have to play each other year in and year out. It's only right. Penn State should be fuming from this one. So I expect big things from them. Trace McSorley might be a Heisman candidate, by the way.
All right, and our last matchup of the week between two ranked teams, we got number 17 USC. Those Trojans are going to see their pack rival, number 10 Stanford Cardinal.
USC started a freshman quarterback for only the second time in school history. Trivia question, Devin. Who was the other freshman quarterback that started, and it happened in the last 10 years? Pete Carroll was actually the head coach at that point.
I want to say Matt Leinart, but I don't think that's the answer.
You got right, Matt. Wrong last name. It was Matt Barkley.
Matt Barkley. That was my second thought. Matt Barkley.
Yeah, he introduced himself against Ohio State with a great drive to beat those guys. So JT Daniels had a pretty good game, albeit against a very easy opponent. JT Daniels and Armand St. Brown are going to be a very good tandem. The name St. Brown sounds familiar to you. He's the younger brother of Equanimeous St. Brown of Notre Dame and now in the NFL with the Packers. So these two guys they're freshmen, and it's good to see how they're linking up on the offensive side of the ball. Stanford has a Heisman caliber running back in Bryce Love, who he had an okay game, but Stanford just found ways to let a game stay close for too long. These programs probably aren't at the peak that they usually are. It's an early part of the season. These two teams will probably get a chance to see each other later, maybe. But for right now, the winner of this game has big-time conference implications.
All right. The last game in the pick'em that we're going to preview for this week is number 15, Michigan State. The Spartans are going to take on the Arizona State Sun Devils.
You play to win the game. You don't play to just play it. You play to win. Hello? I mean, those are the words of the one great Herm Edwards, now head coach at Arizona State. I really like what I'm seeing from this team offensively. Manny Wilkins.
Hello? You play to win the game. You don't play to just play it.
I know. I'm fired up right now just by hearing those words. I'm ready to run through a wall for you. Manny Wilkins will be too, because he's going to want to run through some Spartans. The Spartans didn't look good last week. It's an early season test, and they really they got everything they wanted from Utah State. So interesting to see how they bounce back. But the Arizona State Sun Devils look pretty good. Manny Wilkins is a pretty good quarterback. They have a very explosive offense and a former NFL head coach who knows how to win. This one's out in the desert, so I'm interested to see how they handle the heat too. I mean, those guys from up north aren't used to that.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, so look, everybody, that's all the pick'em games for the week. Like I always tell you guys, look, Fred dropped the knowledge for you. He can't just hold your hand and give you the answers, but he gave you as much knowledge as you can. You go back and you do with that knowledge what you choose. But if you're a part of this pick'em game, you know, he's giving you enough knowledge to compete. Speaking of the pick'em game, it is not too late to get in it. It is not too late to win it. We dropped the lowest week's score anyway. So if you missed last week and you join now, you get that 0. You just got to soldier on for the rest of the season. You still can win. So go to the War Room Sports Facebook page, and you can find the link to get into the college pick'em so you could challenge Fred Perdue for that $25 prize at the end of the season. Free entry. Get in. You can win. Like I said, we dropped the lowest week. So week 1 is a wrap. It's a wash. You don't need it to win the game. Get in now. I'm posting the link again right now. So go to Facebook.com/War Room Sports and get into our college pick'em contest. All right, Fred, any parting shots for week 1 of the college football season and anything you want to say previewing week 2 before we get out of here?
Oklahoma, please bury Chip Kelly. Bury him. Shout out to my Hurricanes. You're going to get a W this week against good old Shea Sharp's old alma mater, Savannah State. Those guys are terrible. Willie Taggart, I hope you lose every game. Florida State, yeah, you need to lose every game. This one's going to be interesting still. It's not like a typical – the one thing I love about this playoff system is it forces teams to actually play people early into the season instead of the typical FCS cupcake. So looking forward to week 2. Lots of good games. You know where I'll be, always on Twitter, watching the games, chatting with you guys, give you guys my thoughts. So check me out on Twitter, Fred Perdue CFB. And we'll have a little fun.
All right, make sure y'all do that because Fred will be on Twitter all throughout the games on Saturday. So there you have it. This has been another edition of Quick Slants with Fred Perdue, giving you all the college football information and analysis that you need. Man, one last thing before we get out of here. Not that I was a fan of anything, but the hip hop world had a loss. So R.I.P. to Mac Miller. Condolences to his family and friends. But like we said, y'all make sure y'all hit those Twitter airwaves on Saturday so you can talk trash with Fred. Make sure you get into that pick'em and make your picks for this week before it's too late, because this is the week where it really starts. We're not dropping any more weeks, so get in there and see if you can win this thing. Look, for Fred Perdue, I'm Devin McMillan. Like we always tell you guys, don't accept mediocrity. Be steadfast in the war against ignorance, and we'll see you chumps on top.
War Room Sports, www.warroomsports.com. What? Ain't no more to it.